are reflected in the quality of the strategies presented to members this afternoon, and I commend them to you. And finally, the report recommendations are set out on page 11 of the agenda reports. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Members, are there any questions, please? Councillor Cheadle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I very much support this report, but it comes across very much in sort of financial speak, which some members of the public might find, quite difficult to digest. I think this council's got a very sound reputation for having contingency funds where we meet difficulties, and goodness me, over the last couple of years, haven't we met those with COVID? But I wonder if Mrs. Buckle could just put a bit of sort of flesh on the bones of the financial statement in these papers, and perhaps reflect on the revenue we generate from the investments and how that revenue goes to help support the services that our residents so depend on.
Mrs. Buckle, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, in the last budget monitoring report, we are expecting to receive around 585,000 in Treasury Management income for this current financial year, 22-23. And in terms of what we budgeted for next year, at the moment we've budgeted for 400,000. Now that extra Treasury Management income has enabled the council to finance its increased costs, such as inflation costs on goods and services, for example, increases in energy, inflationary pressures on the waste contract and the pay award, and also things like a reduction in car parking income. It is prudent to have a level of reserves for unexpected, unforeseen events, such as the COVID pandemic. Many years prior to that, for example, we also had foot and mouth, where the council was able to act very quickly and set up a rate relief scheme for businesses. These reserves form part of our Treasury Management investments, along with other cash flow advantages, such as something that we call working capital. So that is the difference between the balance of our debtors compared to the balance of our creditors at any point in time, and other funds that we hold, such as Section 106 deposits and capital funds. Our investment returns are very much linked to bank base rate. So when the base rate increases, as it has done over the last few months, so does our income from Treasury Management investments. Over the last 2 months, January and February, our investment rate returns have been 3.4% and 3.7%. So that's the investment return we've achieved on the portfolio. In terms of some examples of some of recent investments we have done, very recently we invested £3 million with Lloyds Bank Corporate Markets at an interest rate of 4.35%. So that just shows the type of rate of return that we are able to now achieve, now that the bank base rate has increased. That was a 6-month investment. The council also invested £3 million with Standard Chartered Bank at a rate of return of just under 4%. And again, that was a 3-month investment to this April. We are part of the benchmarking club with other local authorities, which we do through our Treasury Management Advisors, Link Services. And in this report, members, it is being recommended that the minimum credit rating for our investments is the short-term Fitch rating of F1 and the long-term credit rating of A-. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Buckle. Councillor Kimber.
Thank you very much for the report. I've got a question about page 43, where it talks about the non-treasury investment portfolio position. So we have 4 properties. 2 have reduced in value and 2 have increased in value. They kind of balance each other out. But I just have a couple of concerns. So so the first concern is, how does the increase in interest rates affect our investments? And secondly, I'm also seeing worrying articles in the press about the commercial property market. So I just wonder how these are likely to affect our portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kimber. Councillor Edmonds.
Thank you, Councillor Mott. Thank you, Councillor Kimber. In terms of interest rates, all the loans used to purchase those properties are on fixed rate terms that cover the whole term of the loan, typically 50 years. So we are protected from the current rise in interest rates. Your second point about valuations, it's an annual valuation for the purposes of the accounts. As such, it's a paper figure. It's not a concern because we have no intention to sell the properties. As I mentioned, they are long-term investments, so any short-term fluctuation in valuation do not represent a concern, certainly at this stage. So, you know, over the long term, I would expect and hope that we see the value of these properties increase.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Councillor Vachon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got two questions, actually. Just a bit of clarification on Section 5 of implications under risk. It says security risk is failure of a counterparty. It's just, what is the definition